The door to my bathroom exploded open like a bad punchline in a sitcom from hell, steam billowing out as if the room itself was gasping in shock. There stood Evelyn Hargrove, our HOA Queen Bee, arms crossed, chin jutted like she owned not just the neighborhood but the laws of physics too, flanked by her two lackeys looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Unannounced compliance check," she barked, her voice dripping with that faux-polite venom that makes you want to laugh and scream at once. "Mr. Harlan, your water usage is a disgrace to community standards. We're here to enforce, whether you like it or not." I froze, towel barely wrapped around me, water dripping from my hair. But it was my wife's shriek from behind the curtain that sliced through the absurdity like a knife. She'd been in there, vulnerable, the steam her only armor after another rough day battling the remnants of her illness. And now this self-appointed sheriff was treating our home like her personal fiefdom. Evelyn didn't even blink at the scream. She just adjusted her glasses, that thin smile curling like she was winning some invisible game. Oh, the irony, preaching about waste while invading privacy like it was her God-given right. But she had no clue the real flood was about to hit her, not from the shower, but from the truth we'd been quietly damming up for months. "My name's Alex Harlan, former IT security consultant, the kind of guy who builds firewalls that could lock down Fort Knox. In Whispering Pines Estates, I was the quiet one, the neighbor who nodded politely at barbecues but kept to himself after the rumors started swirling. You see, a year ago, some anonymous tipster cough, Evelyn's cronies, spread whispers that I was running an illegal home business, hacking into systems or something equally dramatic. It was all bull, born from me fixing a neighbor's Wi-Fi one too many times, but it painted me as the shady recluse. I let it slide, biting my tongue while they gossiped on the community app, because I knew jumping in would just feed the beast. Instead, I observed, noted every petty rule they enforced with glee, every fine slapped on folks for grass 2 inches too tall or Christmas lights up a day past deadline. Evelyn ruled like a tin pot dictator in pearls, all smiles and, for the greater good, speeches at meetings, but her eyes gleamed with the thrill of control. She feared nothing more than losing her throne, so she doubled down on the nonsense, turning our idyllic suburb into a pressure cooker of passive-aggressive notes and surveillance cams disguised as safety measures. That bathroom invasion? It wasn't random. It was the climax of her crusade against our excessive water bill. We'd gotten notices for weeks, polite at first, then escalating to threats of liens because my wife, Lena, needed long, hot showers to ease the joint pain from her chemo recovery. Water wasn't a luxury. It was medicine in our house, a sanctuary we'd clawed back after months of hospitals and uncertainty. But to Evelyn, it was ammo. Community resources are sacred, she'd lecture at HOA meetings, her voice honeyed with fake concern, while the grand fountain at the entrance gushed like a Vegas showpiece, leaking gallons into the storm drains because aesthetics matter for property values. Hypocrisy on tap. Folks, pun intended. As Lena yanked the curtain back, water sluicing off her, she held up her FBI credentials like a holy relic, the gold badge glinting under the fluorescent light. The room went dead silent, Evelyn's smug grin freezing into something comical, like a cartoon villain realizing the anvil's about to drop. "Federal badge or not," she stammered, recovering with that machine-like poise. "This is HOA jurisdiction. We're protecting the neighborhood from violators like you." Jurisdiction? In my own damn bathroom? I almost laughed right there. The absurdity hitting like dark comedy. Here was this woman, dripping wet from the spray, preaching authority while trespassing like a bad burglar. Lena's eyes narrowed, her voice ice-cold. Protecting? You just committed a federal offense. Bursting in here without warrant or consent. But sure. Tell me more about your jurisdiction over my shower time. I stepped forward, heart hammering but voice steady, towel clutched like a shield. Get out, I said, low and even, herding them back through the hall like stray cats. Evelyn huffed, clipboard scribbling furiously as if notes could rewrite reality. This isn't over, Mr. Harlan. Fines will follow. Her minions shuffled out, avoiding eye contact, one muttering under his breath about, maybe we should have knocked. By the time the door slammed, porch lights flicked on across the street, neighbors peeking through curtains. Whispers started immediately, the community app probably lighting up with, "Did you hear about the Harlans?" Evelyn caught them red-handed, but I saw a few sympathetic glances, folks who'd felt her sting before. Lena dried off, her hands shaking not from fear but rage. Alex, if we don't fight this now, she'll bury us in paperwork and rumors. She was right. Silence had been my armor, but now it was time to weaponize the truth. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows as I sipped coffee, replaying the scene in my head. Evelyn's face when she saw the badge, priceless, like a peacock realizing its feathers were fake. But humor aside, the violation burned deep. Our home, our safe space, desecrated for some petty power play. I headed to the community center, that faux-grand building with its plaque proclaiming, Whispering Pines HOA, Unity Through Standards. Inside, the air reeked of stale donuts and smugness. Evelyn sat enthroned at the head of the conference table, her bored sycophants nodding like bobbleheads. You've gone too far, I said, sliding into a chair uninvited, my tone calm as a still pond. Barging into a private residence? That's not enforcement. That's breaking and entering. Evelyn leaned back, fingers steepled, that polite smile masking the shark beneath. Mr. Harlan, our bylaws clearly allow inspections for egregious violations. Water conservation is a community pillar. Your bills threaten everyone's rates. We had no choice but to act decisively. Decisively, I suppressed a chuckle. Her action was straight out of a bad spy flick. One board member shifted uncomfortably, murmuring, maybe we should have scheduled it. But Evelyn shot him a glare that could wilt plastic plants. I pulled out my phone, displaying a screenshot of state law Virginia code on property rights, highlighted in yellow. Bylaws don't trump actual law, Evelyn. No entry without consent unless it's life or death. Last I checked, my shower isn't a national emergency. The room tensed. Her eyes darted to the screen, lips pursing like she'd sucked a lemon. This community relies on us to maintain order, she countered, voice rising just a notch, that femoral high ground cracking. Property values plummet when rule breakers like you flout the standards. Neighbors trickled in, drawn by the raised voices old Mrs. Jenkins, who'd been fined for her bird feeder, and young Tom from down the block, hit for his unauthorized basketball hoop. They lingered by the door, exchanging glances that screamed, about time someone called her bluff. Evelyn recovered with a wave of her hand. We'll review this internally. But don't think your little stunt changes anything. Stunt? Coming from the woman who'd turned my bathroom into a circus. As I left, I caught sight of Marcus Hale, the maintenance guy, hovering in the corner, tool belt sagging, face etched with guilt. He avoided my eyes, But his fidgeting hands told a story. Another pawn in Evelyn's game, probably the one who'd handed over the master key. I filed that away. Cracks were forming in her perfect facade, and I was just getting started. The walk home felt charged. Each manicured lawn a reminder of the suffocating standards Evelyn enforced. Whispers followed me, neighbors on porches, phones in hand, no doubt feeding the rumor mill. Heard Alex went off on Evelyn. Thinks he's above the rules. I let it roll off. Patience was my edge. That afternoon, I slipped over to the maintenance shed, a rusty eyesore behind the playground where kids swung obliviously. Marcus was inside, pretending to fix a mower that looked fine, his wrench twisting aimlessly. "Evelyn's dragging you into her mess," I said casually, leaning on the doorframe. He stiffened, dropping the tool with a clatter that echoed like a confession. I just follow orders," he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow despite the cool air. His eyes flicked everywhere but mine, body language screaming conflict, like a man tied to a sinking ship but too scared to jump. "Orders to trespass? That's not maintenance. That's criminal." He rubbed his neck, fingers digging in, a sigh escaping like air from a punctured tire. "She says it's for the good of the community. Property values. You know," I almost laughed, darkly, of course, at how she'd brainwashed even the handyman into parroting her lines. The wrench slipped again. Banging his knee, he cursed, hand trembling as he picked it up. "Look, Marcus, when this blows up and she'll throw you under the bus. You're the one with the keys." He hunched over the workbench, sweat beading, the irony thick. Here he was, fixing leaks all day, while Evelyn's prized fountain gushed waste unchecked. Kids' laughter drifted in from the playground, a cruel contrast to his trapped silence. I didn't push. Seeds planted, I left him stewing. His hesitation wasn't loyalty, it was fear, and fear could flip to fury with the right nudge. 2 days later, the escalation hit like a slapstick twist. A glaring red notice plastered on our door. "Water violation fine, $1,500. Pay or face lien." It flapped mockingly in the breeze. Evelyn's scarlet letter for all to see. Lena ripped it down, fuming. "She's parading us like criminals. Exactly, humiliation as policy." But I smiled inwardly, let the neighbors gawk. Instead of raging, I grabbed my toolkit and headed to the entrance fountain, that gaudy marble monstrosity Evelyn touted as our beacon of elegance. Up close, it was a joke. Cracks spiderwebbing the base, pump whining like an old asthmatic, water pooling in wasteful puddles. I knelt, measuring flow with a gauge, snapping pics, neighbors slowing their cars to stare. "What are you doing, Alex?" one called. "Proving the real criminal," I replied, voice carrying. The fountain wasted more in a day than our household in a week. Evelyn's hypocrisy in stone, preaching conservation while her pet project violated every state code I'd researched. By dusk, the app buzzed with chatter. "Saw Harlan at the fountain. Think he's onto something?" Evelyn must have seethed, her beacon now a spotlight on her flaws. That night, poring over photos at the table, chlorine scent lingering, I mapped the counterattack. Outside intervention was key. State Water Board would love this. Lena squeezed my shoulder. "Turn her weapon against her." Damn right. The noose tightened, not on us, but on the queen bee herself. The evidence pile grew like a bad habit I couldn't quit. Photos, videos, calculations showing the fountain's waste could fill an Olympic pool monthly. But to nail Evelyn, I needed bureaucracy on my side. Next day, I drove to the Richmond Environmental Office, a drab fortress of forms and fluorescent lights. Signing in, I laid it out. HOA negligence, falsified reports, all tied to their leaky crown jewel. The clerk nodded wearily. Heard worse. But fill this out. And I did, detailing flow rates, code breaches, attaching everything like a digital indictment. Back home, the neighborhood simmered. Neighbors whispered at mailboxes, casting glances our way, not hostile, but curious. Evelyn amped her game, emailing the community about disruptive elements threatening harmony, her words laced with that mawkish morality. We must unite for standards. Code for bow to me. I chuckled darkly. Her fear showed in every exclamation point. Midweek, I hit the park bench with my binder, accidentally leaving pages visible. Folks wandered over. Is that the fountain data? A woman peered, eyes widening. She fined me for my sprinklers while this thing leaks? Murmurs built, sparks of outrage. Then Evelyn marched up, heels clicking like gunfire, clipboard brandished. Alex, this is slanderous propaganda. Her voice pitched high, face flushed under perfect makeup, ludicrous, like a general defending a cardboard fort. Propaganda? These are your own records. I countered mildly, holding up a page. Leaking since 2015. Ignored for aesthetics. She snatched at it, but I pulled back. Falsified nonsense. You're the violator here. Before she could rant, Marcus emerged from the trees, face pale but set. It's not falsified, he croaked, voice cracking like old pipes. I entered those numbers. Evelyn made me scrub them, said the fountain had to look perfect or we'd lose funding. The park hushed. Evelyn whirled, hissing. Marcus, your job. He cut her off, trembling but defiant. Job? Worth lying for you? No more. The crowd exploded, questions flying. Backs slapped on Marcus. Evelyn's poise shattered, her authority crumbling like wet paper. She stormed off, but the damage was done. Her mask slipped, revealing the petty tyrant beneath. I watched quietly, satisfaction bubbling. The tide turned, her empire leaking faster than her fountain. With Marcus's confession in hand, I fortified the binder at the local library, Lena beside me under humming lights. This statute nails the entry violation, she pointed out, finger jabbing the screen. We sectioned it. Trespass, fraud, waste, liability, each a nail in Evelyn's coffin. My phone pinged. Marcus texting, I'll back you up. Tired of her games. Relief hit, her key ally flipped. That evening, strolling the streets, neighbors waved openly now, fear thawing. At the clubhouse, lights burned late, Evelyn plotting, no doubt. I crouched by the fountain again, sunset glinting off wasteful sprays. A dad approached, gonna take her down? Accountable. Yeah. State won't ignore this. He grinned. Relief plane, the neighborhood's silent suffering surfacing. Home. Binder ready. Lena's hand on mine. This frees everyone. True. Tomorrow. Delivery to Inspector Vaughn. The real storm brewed. Sunrise gleamed on the binder as I drove to the community hall for the emergency meeting Evelyn called. Her last stand. Parking lot jammed. Neighbors buzzing like hornets. Inside. Sweat-thick air. Chairs packed. Evelyn at the dais. Smirk strained. This addresses threats to our order. Mr. Harlan spreads lies undermining us. I rose, binder thudding down. Lies? Here's truth. Your fountain wastes fortunes while you find showers. Pages flipped, cracks, charts, invoices. Gasps rose. Illegal entry. Covered leaks. Your order is chaos. Evelyn banged her gavel. Fabricated. He's manipulating disgruntled elements. Marcus strode forward. Voice steady now. Not fabricated. I altered reports on your orders. Hiding waste for image. The hall detonated shouts. Standing ovations. You find my car wash, one yelled. Evelyn shrieked. Lies. Think of values. But voices drowned her. I quieted them. Evidences with the state. Inspectors coming argue with him. Her face crumpled. Fear raw. Neighbors surged, demanding justice. The binder sat like judgment. Evelyn's reign shattered. The hall echoed with defiance long after. By dawn, greetings shifted, nods. Thanks. 2 days on, Inspector Vaughn arrived. Clipboard crisp. Show me this fountain. Crowd followed. He probed. Frowned. Clear violations, negligence. Falsifications. Fines incoming. Boards liable. Evelyn protested shrilly. Twisted facts. Vaughn shut her down. Logs don't lie. Ma'am, Marcus affirmed. Ordered to fake them. Done hiding. Cheers erupted. Evelyn's clipboard dropped. Face ashen. Board muttered resignations. Her empire folded. Weeks later, fines hit hard. Election swept clean. Evelyn out. Fountain off. Standing with Lena by the silent structure. Peace settled. What began in violation ended in voice reclaimed. But tell me, was Evelyn the real villain? Or just a product of a system that lets petty power corrupt absolutely?